The next Lee and Ian podcast is approaching the station. Please step aside.
Welcome to the Lee and Ian Show. I'm Lee Navlin.
And I'm Ian Grodman.
The Lee and Ian Show is sponsored by Grodman Law and Mediation. When it comes to divorce, family first. Mediation, it's the way to go. That's Grodman Law and Mediation. The Lee and Ian Show is also sponsored by South Orange psychotherapist Amy Cox Martins. Amy can help you or a loved one find solutions to life's most difficult questions. That's psychotherapist Amy Cox Martins. Our guest today is Maplewood's Community Development Director, and she's also the Maplewood Municipal Prosecutor. Hello, Annette DePalma.
Hey, Annette.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good
Thanks
afternoon.
for being here.
Annette, we really appreciate you coming in. And first question, I guess, is may we call you Madam Prosecutor?
No, you may call me Annette.
Annette, okay, so we're going to call you Annette. We're not going to call you Madam Prosecutor. You've done so much for this community, Annette. I know that
Absolutely.
When I first moved here some 20-something years ago, one of the first people I met, you were in town, and you were just someone that you were handing out flyers, I believe, for something that was going. So I don't even remember what it was because it's 20 years ago, but you were always very involved in the community, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Talk a little bit about what Maplewood means to you.
Okay, well, this is actually kind of good timing because June 30th was the 30th anniversary of my having moved to Maplewood.
Happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. It seems like 5 minutes ago. So, yeah, that was 1995, and the very next year I joined the Transportation Committee, the Transportation Advisory Committee, which had been talking about a jitney service for quite some time. And so that was a very exciting time to be on the Transportation Committee. And, I was involved in some other things as well, some other committees, and I got to meet a lot of people who are still good friends. So we were members of the Hudson Federation Food Co-ops. Mm-hmm. So it was a nice way to build community. And, so I just kind of stayed involved as a volunteer. And then 5 or 6 years later, actually was asked to run David Humer's campaigns. He was running for the Maplewood Township
That's
Committee.
when I met you. That's what it was for Humer.
Yeah, so that was very fun.
And he won, so look at that.
I would like to just clarify. So we won 2 Democratic primary contests and 2 general elections.
You go, Annette.
Yeah, well, I had a very good candidate.
That's true.
The worst thing I could say about David was that his ties were always stained. Other than that, he was absolutely amazing, and he served Maplewood really well for 2 terms.
He definitely did.
A stain tie, blue blazer, and khakis, right?
Pretty much.
That was
Yes.
David Humer.
Yes.
And it still is. Yeah.
Still is.
I always said I want to see your closet because I always pictured you had 20 blue blazers, and the
Yes.
khakis. Yeah, a heck of a guy, David. And I hope he's listening. Hello, Dave.
and he's actually still very involved. He's a trustee on the library board. So
And a Maplewood Democratic Committee district leader,
Yes.
our longest-serving one.
That's
is
amazing.
that right?
It is correct, yes.
So, Annette, I guess my next question to you, it's a 2-part question. Are you related to the famous film director Brian DePalma?
Sadly, no.
Okay, you're not related to him. Okay, because Ian thought perhaps the movie Carrie was based on you.
No!
No.
Lovely. Thanks, Ian. So much for a 20-year friendship.
Well, Ian's a lawyer.
You're gonna ruin our friendship, Lee.
He's a
Come on.
lawyer, so he's always he's very skeptical of the other lawyers. But I joke for now. I guess my
I
next
call
question.
Annette all the time for advice.
Have you ever actually been in court with each other, against each other? Has that happened?
Yes.
We have, actually.
We
yeah.
have.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Because, I've represented people in town who have issues where they need to go to the Maplewood Municipal Court, and so Annette and I cross paths.
What kind of cases end up in municipal court, I guess?
It's I'm glad you're asking me this because it will give me a really good opportunity to talk about municipal court, which I believe, and a lot of people may take issue with this, but I truly believe that municipal courts are the most important courts in our court system. And the reason for that is that, just about everybody knows somebody that's been to municipal court.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you know have been to, the Second Circuit,
Right.
District Court?
Nobody.
Very few.
Right. No, not even. I've been to the Supreme Court, but I was just, I was a tourist, just
Okay.
checking it out. Yeah.
You weren't arguing a
yeah.
case?
I was not arguing the case.
Okay.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Legal scholar, Lee
That's
Nevlin.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, my point really is that most people form their impressions of the legal system from their personal experiences. And since their experiences are, the overwhelming majority of them are in municipal court, I feel that the courts at this level have an extra burden. And I'm using the word a little loosely because I don't think it's burdensome, but they have an extra responsibility is a better word.
Yeah.
To make sure that people feel heard, that people understand the process, that they feel like they are part of the process, even if, they're on the defendant's side, and that they're getting a fair shake.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you? It's just Maplewood, right? South Orange, even though I believe they share the courts.
They do.
Well, we share the facility.
But they have their own.
Yeah, we're not a joint court. We're a shared court, which means we share violations bureau staff and
the administration.
the administration. Yeah, we have the same court administrator, but we have separate judges, separate prosecutors, and we're a completely separate entity. Obviously, we have separate police departments that feed some of the cases, but I realize I didn't answer your question. Which
Regarding
was
the type of cases?
what kind of cases?
Yes.
Yeah. So we do petty misdemeanors. So we do criminal cases. We do traffic cases under Title 39, which are moving violations. We do quality of life issues that come in through property maintenance violations, zoning violations, health department violations. So we do everything from, feral cats
Yep.
getting into other people's yards
Sure.
to, people who are operating commercial enterprises that are outside the permitted use in the zone in which they're doing it, to, speeding.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Homeowner disputes.
Assaults and some.
Oh, and as far as the misdemeanors,
Right.
yes.
Yep.
We have assault cases, which are primarily interfamilial.
Right.
We have quite a few of those, but they take on a life of their own because there is a protocol that happens. And even if, the person, the caller, will tell the officer when they show up, no, I didn't mean blah, 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 blah. The officers, use their due diligence and have standard operating procedures and have to carry forward and investigate. So we have some of those. We have some shoplifting. We have some trespassing.
Now, you've been the prosecutor for 18 years, I believe.
Wow.
I think.
Wow. Yeah.
18 years, 7 months, to be
that's
exact.
amazing.
Yeah.
So,
And Lee, I want to
My
point
research.
out, besides the fact that we all in Maplewood know how amazing Annette is, Annette has actually served as the president of the New Jersey Municipal Prosecutors Association, which is probably 500 some odd prosecutors throughout the state of New Jersey.
Wow.
She was selected to do that. She's also taught in law school. She taught at Fordham Law School. So she's a highly accomplished lawyer besides all the other things that she's done in her life.
Oh,
So how does one become a prosecutor, I guess? Because how does you go to law school, you're a lawyer. Talk a little bit about that with young people. We've just had Max on recently.
That's right,
who's
Max Kravitz.
Max Kravitz, who's trying to get into government, and maybe he's going to go to law school, and maybe he'll follow your footsteps. How does someone become a prosecutor?
You apply for the job, basically. But that sounds flip. But so I got out of law school, and the only reason I went to law school was because I wanted to be a legal aid lawyer.
Okay.
That was from when I was 7. I was very clear and very focused on that. So I got out of law school. I applied for a job at Legal Aid in Manhattan. I get the job. The very next day after I get the hiring letter, the lawyers go out on strike, the Association of Legal Aid Attorneys. And I wound up being the vice president officer of that union.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, man, I have debt. Oh, I need a job. What am I? I'm so sick of waiting tables. I waited tables through college, through law school. So I signed up with some paralegal agency. And, I let them know I had one foot out the door and I didn't even tell them that I was a lawyer or admitted to the bar. They quickly found out and started utilizing me. So anyway, they put me at Sherman and Sterling, which was a Wall Street
Wow.
law firm.
I can't imagine you at Sherman and Sterling.
Well, neither could I.
It's a very
Very
corporate,
traditional.
very traditional.
Oh, very
White
corporate.
shoe.
So
Gotcha,
Wall
yeah,
Street firm.
white shoe, Wall Street. Tea time at 4:00.
Okay.
Literally, the building was gorgeous. It was 40 Wall Street, and at 4:00 every day, the chimes would chime, and everyone was expected to stop whatever they were doing and go down into this, enormous conference room and have tea and cookies.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
I'm picturing Michael Douglas or something in one of these roles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
right,
that
right.
kind
Well,
of world.
actually, one thing that was kind of cool about that was there were two cases that I worked on while I was there, and one was when Walter Cronkite, I'm seriously dating myself here, Walter Cronkite trying to take over No, I'm sorry. Ted Turner trying to take over CBS.
I remember that.
And
yes.
so I read all of Walter Cronkite's depositions.
Yeah.
And so that was very interesting. And the other big case that I was involved with was with the then only woman partner, Nina Zagat of Zagat Restaurant fame.
The guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she was Trust and Estates, which was very typical for, for a woman lawyer back in the day,
those
and probably
days.
still is,
You're right.
in large part. She was working on Baja Johnson's will contest from J&J. That was also very interesting.
I bet.
Yeah. And every day she had a corner office and would have lunch delivered from some, fantastic restaurant in the city, and she ate on white tablecloths. And then
Did she share?
Never. And then 5 minutes after Legal Aid lifted their hiring freeze, I was like, okay, guys, gotta go.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes. Right.
And off to Legal Aid.
So my wife, she applied years and years ago at Zagat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she did, and she actually. I probably shouldn't be telling you. Well, she doesn't care. She nudged her GPA up a little bit higher than it really was,
Oops.
and they said it was still too low.
Attorney-client privilege.
They said it's still too
Annette and I
low.
are both attorneys.
But-
Yeah,
Attorney-client
so-
privilege.
all
Oh,
right.
wait, we're on the air.
Oh,
She
yeah,
doesn't
right,
listen to
so-
my podcast. I don't have to worry about. So please, no one tell her that I shared that story. But
Yeah. So anyway, so then I worked at Legal Aid for whatever. And then my next job for pay was Fordham Law School. I was a project director at the Stein Center for Law and Ethics. Taught a couple of classes, was managing editor of a publication called, this I really like doing, called The Common Good, because it was intended for students who wanted to write but didn't want to be on a
journal.
okay.
or didn't want to write, law review articles.
Now, interesting enough, so the Legal Aid Society, you sounds like you grew up very progressive in your political beliefs, perhaps, and you wind up in Maplewood, a very progressive. It seems like kind of life just kind of it fell into the right place for you, fell into the right community, the right world. I don't know if I'm explaining this, Ian. But,
I think it
right,
is.
I
you-
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I was born and raised in Hoboken and first generation U.S. person. So I was a very blue collar Catholic factory family and lands all there.
what street you grew up in Hoboken?
Park, 12th and Park,
12th and Park. Okay.
12th and Park,
Church.
Yeah.
You said Catholic.
OLG,
Oh,
Our Lady
there
of
we go.
Grace, all the sacraments, the
Wow.
whole shebang.
Hoboken High School.
No,
Okay.
St. Joseph's of the Palace. Oh, we always went to Catholic school.
Yep. Okay. Understood. Yep.
So yeah, and then a couple of deviations like to the city and all of that, and so Maplewood was. I really did not want to move to a suburb.
Okay.
I just wanted to stay on the Upper West Side or in Hoboken.
Right. City girl. Yep.
Yeah, seriously. But it didn't work out that way. But I was, it took a while to get used to a suburb. But I could not have landed in a better community.
There we go.
And that is so true.
I agree with you
very
100%. You
Oh,
know,
my
all
gosh.
three of us.
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, that's what-
110%.
Yes.
the place could drive you a little crazy at times
Yes,
because so many
yes.
people are involved, and I know you have the SOMA Lounge and the SOMA this, and and everybody has something to say. But at the end of the day, I think it's just intelligent, smart people
That's it.
who find their way here, and the more the merrier.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great place to live.
Yep.
It was a great place to raise my kids.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
And yeah, so everything worked out so far really well.
Good.
This is a question, and I hope I'm not. I'm throwing this out. Ian, maybe Annette, what's going on with ICE right now? I'm just kind of curious. Does that fall in any of the situations with ICE or with? Now we're not a sanctuary city, Ian. What exactly?
We're a welcoming community.
We're a welcoming community. So I'm just kind of curious if that's.
Why don't you talk about that and that?
So I think Maplewood does have sanctuary status.
Okay.
And I think that means, and I don't think I'm overstepping here, but at a minimum, that means that we are completely committed to individuals' civil and constitutional rights.
Okay. That's a fair answer. That's a fair answer.
When that ordinance was passed, Lee, it was when Trump was first elected.
Okay.
It was very important that we felt that citizens of any kind of background, whether they were here with legal status or not, felt comfortable to engage with our civic institutions, with the police department, with the schools, with all of that. And that was the primary motivation behind that.
I mean, and here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are now.
Somebody just told me there was an ICE raid yesterday on Springfield Avenue in Irvington,
Yeah.
just down the road.
It's
Yeah,
it's
and I heard of one on Mars Turnpike a couple of weeks ago.
it's a scary time. It's just a scary time. You see someone who doesn't speak English, and you just whatever, and you worry. You say, is that enough for that person to be stopped just because they're speaking Spanish?
Well, legally it's not, but that does not mean that that's not
No,
happening.
it's and God bless everybody. It's a terrible. I don't agree with what's going on, and but anyway.
You want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I have a lot of concerns about the Spanish-speaking litigants who are in our court. Always.
Okay.
But especially now.
Yep.
And I think that our court is run very, very well. Ryan Bancroft's our court
He's
administrator.
amazing.
Yeah. Clyde Otis is our municipal judge. He's extremely smart and practical, and it's a pleasure to be. The three of us, I guess, represent sort of the three branches of
The judicial system.
the judicial system.
Yes.
So it's good, and we are very aware of the circumstances we find ourselves in.
Now the courts are right here at the police station. We're on Springfield Avenue, right? That's
Well, we like to think the police station's right
where the
in
courts
with
are.
courts,
Where the
yeah.
courts are. Where was it before the station was built? Actually,
It was down on Donnell Road, 111 Donnell.
Oh, so
It was a little courtroom on the second floor
Yeah.
of that old police department.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, as you can see, I never got in trouble, Ian.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good. That's not what I heard, but
That's
yeah.
right. That's all right. Settled out of court. We got so much to talk about with you,
Yes.
Annette. I'd like to maybe talk a little bit about your other responsibility with the township
huge
as the director of
responsibility.
community development. Now, I'm not sure. Again, people might not know what you're doing, but
Good.
the people that do know. No, we just were talking to Nancy, who runs this facility, and she saw you speak not too long ago.
Yep.
Very impressive. But you want to talk a bit about that because that's important stuff. The head of construction, zoning and code inspection, divisions for the implement of special projects. I mean, a lot seems to fall under your umbrella.
Well, first I want to, so yes, I am the director of community development, which is an extremely fun job and actually blends perfectly with my role as the municipal prosecutor. which, people sometimes find odd, but it's actually a natural fit. And there are other communities that have modeled after what we do in Maplewood. So within the department is construction, zoning, property maintenance, land use administration, which covers the zoning and planning boards, and fire prevention. So it's 5 different divisions. And, I just kind of troubleshoot and quarterback. The staff in the department, the people that I work with are just fantastic.
Yeah.
And are each expert in their own particular job. What I try to do as a manager is have some cross-training done so everyone has at least some passing knowledge of what everyone else is doing.
There was also business and development recruitment. Now that sounds very exciting to me. So you're basically part of your responsibility is getting businesses to come to Maplewood. This is a great place to set up shop. This is a shared workspace, for instance, where we're working, doing the podcast out of. And this is a fairly new facility. It's great. It's an opportunity for people who are working at home to.
That's right.
I mean, everybody knows, and it's got
small businesses have meetings here and all of that.
Meeting rooms and conference rooms and private offices and
a beautiful podcast studio.
Beautiful podcast studio.
This is a beautiful podcast studio.
It is. Yeah.
So my role primarily there is, it's really morphed over the years. I've been the director of the community relations, community this, community that, and so we have 2 special improvement district managers. Nicole Wallace, who is the I don't know the exact title, executive director of Springfield Avenue Partnership, and then Erin Rose Baldry, who is the same executive director of the Maplewood Village Alliance. We do have a couple of other small business districts that are not SIDS, like the
Improvement District.
the Irvington Avenue corridor, for example, the shops on Elmwood Avenue, the shops on Parker, the shops on Ridgewood Road. So they're separate. So I would have to say that certainly at this point, Erin Rose and Nicole do a lot of the recruitment. And then I get let's make sure we connect people to the right way administratively of starting a business. Let's make sure they get a zoning review and their commercial enterprise is a permitted zone where they want to go.
Right.
And then let's make sure that if they need health department licenses, we route them to the health department for a license. If they need signage, let's make sure the signage complies with township ordinances related to, placement and size and, and the like.
Yeah, and
they're both terrific.
Was that that job was created? I know you've been doing it for a long time, actually. So I don't want to 17 years. Was that? It just seemed to make sense to me. The Maplewood that I knew when I got here was so different than today, and Maplewood was kind of like stuck in neutral a little bit. I think when that Midtown Direct train came in, it seemed like things just exploded.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the idea to create a position like this that help things catch up with all the new? Coming in?
Somewhat. I think by the middle 2000s, what are those called? The aughts?
The aughts? Yeah, I guess we're stuck with that.
So
we never came up with anything better, but yeah.
So, at that point, and one of the first things I did in an administrative capacity at the same time that I was doing the prosecution stuff was grant writing.
Okay.
And, municipalities aren't really eligible for that many grants, because we're municipalities. But we do get a considerable amount of funding from DOT and the Department of Transportation, Department of Environmental Protection. We every year also get money from the Community Development Block Grant, which is funded by HUD and funneled through the county, Essex County. But in terms of where my department is now, it is relatively new. And our business administrator, Sonia, Viveros, she kind of created the new structure, which put actually zoning and property maintenance and construction, under my watch. And then, in the last few years, fire protection was added and land use administration was added.
They keep giving Annette more hats.
Yeah.
Yes.
More responsibility, more time, same pay. One of those type of things, it sounds like,
Well, I have no complaints at this point.
Good. This is kind of, I think, interesting. Have you ever had something fall under in your lap, as a community development director that required a court time, in the municipal level? I mean, have you ever found yourself kind of, like, whoops,
Oddly enough, and I am so surprised by this, there has never been any kind of direct or maybe even indirect conflict between those two hats. I know. We were all like considering that for a while, but I think that part of the reason for that is, both jobs are about enforcement.
Okay.
Which, is always kind of funny to me because it is almost antithetical to my private personality.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. The legal aid lawyer focusing on enforcement.
Yeah,
Right.
just, but it works. And so it's really kind of a natural blend. And so, for example, if we're having a problem with a particular property, and I would like to add here that contrary to what a lot of people may think, the code inspectors don't just drive around looking to bust people. Right? The overwhelming majority of notices of violation that go out are in direct response to a neighbor or a member of the public, complaining about something. And then they go do their due diligence and, yada, 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 then it follows the course. But the big advantage for me then as a prosecutor is because I'm also working with code inspectors on a daily basis, I know exactly what they're doing, what they're talking about. I already have the photographs. I have this and that and the other. So it's very efficient.
Yeah, right. It's right. It's
very smart.
it's like one room almost. It's
Good work,
it's
Sonia.
two jobs, one room almost.
Yeah. Very, very efficient.
Yeah.
So when if I'm on vacation or something, I have a fill-in prosecutor. They're like starting from ground zero. So and then I realize again and again like how very well this works out.
Yeah, so talk about like code inspection. So we had a situation like that many years ago with a former neighbor where their retaining wall was collapsing, and they told me it was my retaining wall, and I said, no, it's your retaining wall. And so we kind of argued a little bit about it, and so then my wife, picking on her again, she went and told the town checked it out, and they said it was their retaining wall, and then the town said you have to replace it retaining wall.
That's where you needed the mediator.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so they were nice to my wife for the next 5 years. They wouldn't talk to me. They ignored me. They wanted. They thought I
come
did.
on,
They thought I turned them in. It was my So anyway, but that's
Yeah.
my
Well,
personal experience.
a lot of those situations, they're really private disputes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So the best that we can do in that situation is say, all right, listen, everybody get your surveys and,
Yes.
try to kind of shepherd them through without giving legal advice because they're private matters.
Yep.
Right. But I mean, it was, and I joke about it, but it was efficient and it was correct and it was
Good.
professional.
That's
And it was certainly quick.
And Annette is good at helping to make that happen.
It was the argument didn't last more than a week before the Maplewood said,
You're wrong.
This is right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. I liked winning that one, but so where do you see Maplewood, Annette, in the next 5 to 10 years? There's been such a transplant of people. Like you came from Hoboken, Ian came from New York. I was always here, so you guys are kind of you joined.
That's it.
That's right. I was in Essex County at least, but. As new people come in, younger families coming in. Anything? Where do you see the town going?
I see the town as just getting better
Okay.
and better and a more desirable place.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons for that, I think, is from the ground, and that's that, or maybe it's not from the ground, maybe it's from the whatever. But I think that Maplewood historically is very responsive
Yep.
to its residents.
Yeah.
And,
I agree with you there. You know, I have a friend of mine who he was in Bergen County somewhere. He ran, and he said a couple of years ago, he said, "Hey, I'm going to run for Board of Ed." A week later, he won. You know what I mean? That was basically because the town they weren't paying attention. It was just,
Right.
they had somebody's going to run on the Board of Ed. To get elected to the Board of Ed here or local government here,
Takes a lot of work.
takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And, it's because the people are paying attention because this place matters, and that's what I've come to learn
very
about.
fortunate.
Yeah, when you live in a community that the people care so much
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you might have 10 people running for 3 spots.
That's right.
That's...
And it can make it difficult sometimes, but we are very fortunate to have that embarrassment of riches, in terms of people who do want to get involved.
That's a good way to put it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I realized during the pandemic, I always appreciated the role of government, and every bunch of years I appreciate it more. So during the pandemic, I realized, okay, well, obviously we're dealing with this horrible global situation, and nationally things are somewhat chaotic, and even statewide, the state employees are trying to figure out how to deal with stuff coming from Washington
Yeah.
and sending out directives about, how to make changes and how we deliver services. And we were doing that, locally. And the importance of staying in touch and clarifying things for people during, a very scary time made me realize that, what's going on next door to you is, when push comes to shove,
Yes.
critical.
Right.
Like more critical than I had even realized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I developed a newfound appreciation for local government and also a newfound pride in my participation as a staff member.
That's great.
Sure.
Yeah, so it just feels really good. And we've had we have a new business, I keep saying new business administrator, Pat Weary, but he's actually
Been
been
here
here
for years
now
now.
for 2 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And he is fantastic.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. And it was
Yeah,
really,
that it makes a
Very
difference when you're working with good people. It just makes everything more.
Yeah,
it's
and
a good day to go to the office.
Yeah, and I think that, and for people who've worked in town for a long time, I was like, oh God, I hope this person is going to be
It's
smart.
going to be a good one.
Yeah, I hope they're going to be smart, and I hope they don't, think they know so much more than I do about what I do, and
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Because there are Liz Fritzen. I mean, there are people been with the Township of Maplewood
Yeah.
for. I mean, this is
That's it.
people come
I
and
think
they
Liz
stay.
Fritzen was born in Town Hall.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, right. At that desk, right at the
Yeah,
desk. Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah. But there's the people. From 20 years ago, you go
Yeah.
to town hall. The same. It's an amazing thing because that's the type of community it is.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, to go back to your question before, where do I see Maplewood in 5 years or 10 years? I think under Pat's administrative leadership, because, elected officials kind of come and go.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yep.
But the staff is there. Like, we're there.
Yep.
All right.
We're there. It doesn't really matter who the elected representatives are. We have to deliver services in the best way possible, just to keep things moving.
Yes.
And
No matter who the elected
no matter who the elected officials
Right.
are. So that's why it's particularly good that our BA, our business administrator, is smart and practical and always forward-looking.
Right. Excellent. So that's quite an endorsement from Annette DePalma
It
because
is. He is pretty amazing.
Yeah, because I don't give them out
You don't
so
give them out
freely.
that often. No, I mean, when we reached out to you about the podcast, you go, "Oh yeah, the podcast. Yeah, I've heard of that." That was, that was based. I was like,
That's
"She
it.
heard of us?"
Maybe I'll do it.
Well, this is very, it's very uncharacteristic of me to do something like this.
And we really appreciate it.
because
and that was-
well, no,
And I think
because,
the town will appreciate it.
well, it's better that, well, first, I prefer to be under the radar.
Yes.
And it's better that I stay under the radar for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a radio podcast, so you know you can still feel free to walk with,
Yeah.
with your sunglasses and.
There we go.
Well, very, very funny. About, I don't know how many years ago, not that maybe 10 years ago or something, one of my kids was one of my jock kids.
Yep.
I went to a fundraiser.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Okay.
All amazing CHS graduates have gone on to
Right.
excellent things.
So between us,
They are amazing
we
kids.
have. I'm good at math. 3, 1,
2 for me.
6. That's 6. That's 6
Yeah.
CHS graduates.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
a lot.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But I went to a fundraiser and I go to this big backyard and big spread. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. That food looks amazing. And then I walk in and there were people that I had seen in my court. I was like, here's my check. Tell me when you need a ride home. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So that has been an occasional disadvantage, which
Right.
somebody else would have handled much better than I did. But my instinct is to just pull back in a
Yep.
situation like that.
No, and again, we really do appreciate you coming. And what we've done with this podcast is we've just tried to highlight some of the interesting people who make a difference in this community.
right.
Sheena Collum, Nancy Adams, we've
Garnet Hall,
Fred
Phillip,
Perfetta, right? So that's basically
Annette DePalma.
yeah. It's just
It's quite the company I'm keeping all of a sudden.
Yes.
that's right. And,
Quite the company they're keeping. Yeah.
quite the company that came in. So that was basically another. So when Ian said, "How about Annette DePalma?" I said, "You know what?" I said, "That would be awesome because
You
again."
did say that right away.
I've known you for years. Hi, we ran into each other in an
Yep.
elevator once, and
Yep.
and I think we were uncomfortable. We were going up like 19 flights, and I think it was like, now next time we run into each other in the elevator, we'll
get to chat
We'll
more.
talk about the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the podcast.
That's it.
That's right. So Ian, anything?
I don't think so. Annette, I am so
Yeah.
happy that you came on. I really appreciate it. And I think our listeners are going to really enjoy and learn a lot by listening to you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. Go Maplewood.
Go Maplewood. That's right. And if you ever have a date at municipal court, it's not a scary situation, right?
That's it.
It's,
Oh my gosh, not at all.
No.
We are so
She's incredibly human when she's in court.
well. We are just so mellow.
Yeah.
In our court,
Yeah.
we do what we need to do, but it's we encourage resolution
Okay.
and try not to be judgy or punitive or anything like that. It's not the experience it should be for people.
Yeah, do you ever watch the judge up in Rhode Island? Have you ever seen that? There's a judge up in Rhode Island. He's got I forgot his name, but it's a camera there, and he's a great guy. He's like people come in with down on their luck or whatever, and he
I've never even heard of it. Yeah.
Me either.
I forgot the name of it. But anyway, I was thinking we could do that here,
gonna
maybe. We
Google
put a
it after.
camera in there and.
Oh yeah, no, we're good, but
No,
thanks.
yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's
Reality
gonna happen.
TV show out of Maplewood.
Right.
Yeah.
But all right, so I guess we'll wrap it up, Ian.
That
Annette,
sounds great.
at DePalma, you're the best. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
coming in.
Annette.
Really
Well,
do
thanks.
appreciate
This
it.
was actually fun.
I told you it would be, right? Yeah.
Ian is not as scary as he looks.
No, she knows that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
Yeah, and I'm working on it. People.
Yeah, we're working on you. You're getting
Yeah,
there.
people are actually saying hello to me nowadays.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
That's
right. They used to
good.
cross the street.
That's it.
Now they're like,
It's funny.
"Hey, Lee." I'm like,
It's Lee Davlin, run.
That's right. Yeah, those days are gone forever.
Good.
I hope.
Well, thanks for asking me.
Annette, thank you again. So, all right. So, until we meet again.
That's it.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Ciao for
everybody.
now.
Bye.